a lot of twists from the subreddit relationships that comes with a huge update. And then we have a fantastic, short and sweet, but still fantastic, petty revenge. So if you want to navigate throughout the parts of the video, just use the timestamps right below it. Now let's get started with that first story. This post is from the subreddit relationships and it's from user Diet Snapples. Me, 25 male, with my girlfriend, 24 female, of 6 months, want to move in together, but she's pushing for a house she won't be paying for. My girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 25 male, have been together for just over 6 months. We dated in high school, around 8 years ago, for a few months, and have dated on and off for periods between then and now, as time, work, and proximity allowed. I moved out at 18, did a year of dorm life, 3 in an apartment just off campus. I moved back to my hometown but lived in an apartment for roughly 2 years while working oddball jobs trying to find a job in my field. Lack of decent paying job plus other stuff put me back home where I've been since for around 14 months. We both see each other as the person we want to marry and spend our lives with. Unfortunately, as of now, we both live at home with our respective parents. After a couple of years working odd jobs after graduating from my undergrad, I've finally found solid employment and I'm at a point where financially I can get out the door on my own again. I've been looking at either renting an apartment or buying a home. I feel that I've been doing my homework and have done a lot of research into these points. I've met with my financial advisor, gotten pre-approved for a mortgage to figure my purchasing power, continued to add to my savings, gone into a couple of homes and apartments, etc. I am still on the fence about both of these options though. Now the issue. My girlfriend and I both believe that the next step in our relationship is to move in together, something we can't do when we both live at home. So she is very excited about the moving out portion of this. She's also heavily leaning towards the home buying direction. The problem with all of this is that she is currently unemployed and, for the most part, broke after finishing undergrad and preparing to start grad school. As I said, we have the intention of getting married, but for now, I guess you would call it a shack-up. No rings have been given, just verbal when we are married and the like. We have discussed marriage and the future at length, which I think is part of where the house push comes from. We both see this as heading towards marriage, so for her, she sees the house now as an investment in our future perhaps? However, if we moved in together, it would be all on my dime, rent or mortgage plus utilities wise. She's began pushing heavily, centering most of our conversations on buying a house or things we could do when we have our own home. She's even brought her parents into the equation. Her father has begun talking to me about pre-approvals and mortgages. Her mother has given me tons of advice and is also all over me buying a home. I'm beginning to feel very overwhelmed. I almost feel like if I say no to a home, that she's going to leave me or something. I'm not sure what to do or how to approach the situation. Oof, tricky situation, OP. First thing I'm going to say is regarding your last statement. If you say no to a home and she leaves you, good riddance, right? You just got a job 6 months ago. I would say buying a house right now would be the stupidest mistake you could make. And that's just financially speaking. And regarding your relationship with your girlfriend, before committing to anything regarding the future, you guys need to see if you're compatible living together. What happens if you buy the house, you guys move in together, start making changes or whatnot, and 6 months into living together, you find out you just can't stand each other? If I was in your shoes, OP, I wouldn't buy a house. I would rent an apartment. I would see if she would like to move in with me to that apartment and how much she would be able to contribute to our place. That would be the first conversation I would have. As a side note, I think it's kinda sucky that she involved her parents in this whole situation, because this whole thing is your decision only. It's not hers and it's not her parents, so them chipping in as to what you should do is absolutely irrelevant. So what do you guys think? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes, or what kind of advice would you give him? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Top QT says, no, 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 no. Do you have 20% for the down payment? If not, you can still get a house, but unless it's something you really want, it's better to wait. Do not get involved financially with her. You are unmarried and she is unemployed. Unless you want her to be a stay-at-home girlfriend, wife, or mother, don't do it, because that is the precedent you're setting if you go through with this. An apartment is so much easier here. Get a 1-bedroom for now, let her move in if you want. After a year, reevaluate. Aruba496 says, it's not just about whether she will pay for it or not. Moving in together is a big step in a relationship, and it would probably be more rational to try that in an apartment that you would rent. Your couple works great right now, but maybe months of toilet seats up and socks all over the bedroom floor will change a few things. Smiley face. It's a completely different level of intimacy. From what you write, it looks like, might be wrong though, your girlfriend looks forward to playing house more than actually living with you. Maybe try living together in a rented apartment at first. Just, in case it doesn't work out. I don't want to be pessimistic, but going from living at your parents' from living together in a big house is a drastic change. You might want to insist on taking an intermediate step first. And OP responds, that's been my big point in the rent versus buying thing. If I buy a house, yes, I technically own it. But there are all of the fun and not so fun things that come along with it, like yard work, repairs, increases to other bills, etc. Plus, then I'm pretty much locked down in the event that something happens, and I'll be out a decent chunk of my savings, which could be used to replace the '08 Malibu with 110,000 miles on it so I can continue to get to work and get paid. Hell, I don't even want to think about what would happen if a kid came along the way. Stickiki23 says, seriously man, 6 months is nowhere long enough for this level of commitment. Yes, if you feel ready, move in together, but I wouldn't advise you buy a house together as yet. I've seen so many of my friends who have discussed spending their lives together completely fall apart when it comes to cohabiting. Like people I thought were guaranteed to go the distance, but you introduce the stress of being with someone 24/7, the bills, and they imploded. If you're looking for impartial advice, here it is. 6 months, in my opinion, is far too short a time to be basing decisions upon which could affect the rest of your life. Renting is the low-risk alternative to make sure things are right before going ahead with a purchase. A decision to purchase made after a year of living together, when she's finished her studies and in a position to contribute, makes more sense than a whim and a promise of more, wouldn't you say? OP's edit, an update of sorts. I've thought it out. I think it's important to our relationship that I tell her that I'm not 100% comfortable with the idea of buying a house at the present moment and that I don't want to jump on this unless I am, especially seeing that it's entirely on me and my wallet. She may offer to help pay for a few things here and there, food and the like, but it's still a house that we would be living in under my name and money on the pretense that we decided after 6 months that we wanted a house because we think we are going to get married. It probably would be best to look at an apartment, if even for only a 6 or 12-month lease while we both save money, seeing that she's about to start grad school. If she can't accept this fact, then I guess we have to look at the relationship as a whole and see what else is going on. Thanks for the comments and advice. You all rock. Alright, well that's really cool. All of the comments were aimed in the direction of OP, don't do it. And apparently OP heard everything right away because his edit is exactly about that. So, how about we move on to the update to see how that conversation worked out for OP. A couple of days ago, I posted about how my girlfriend, 24 female, wants to move in with me, 25 male, and get a house. This house would be under my name, my wallet, and not shared with her in any way beyond you can live here as a guest. As stated previously, I am not 100% comfortable with purchasing a home since I've only been working in a stable job for around 6 months. Our relationship is only about 6 months old here, and she currently has no income and a significant amount of student debt and pending student debt with grad school coming in. I decided, thanks to the many comments here and comments made to me by people in my life, that I probably should sit down with my girlfriend and talk about it. So I did. I told her why I'm concerned about buying a house financially. I don't have the money to make a significant 20% down payment, and I don't think it's unreasonable to save up more, etc., etc. Her response to this? Ask my somewhat wealthy grandfather for money, and this isn't even really an option in my mind. I was raised to be as financially responsible as possible, hence the huge hang-up about whether or not I'm ready to purchase a house or not, let alone live with someone I've been dating for 6 months. If I can't afford the down payment on a house, how am I supposed to afford many of the major things that could potentially come with home ownership? I explained that for her and me financially in the future, it would be better as well to not get a house at this point. We could both save money, and if we decided to buy a home later in our relationship, like when we decided to actually get married or are married, we can have a larger savings pool or potentially 2 incomes, and I wouldn't have risked my credit or bank accounts now on a starter home. She kept going back to asking my family for money. She would sometimes bring up how her parents have helped her pay for many things, and that is something her family values. This was a major red flag to me. She's not employed, so her parents are helping pay her college debt. Her parents are covering most of her bills, insurances, debt, etc., if not all of them. Her parents are even paying existing expenses from when she recently attempted to move out. She basically was telling me that she can't pay for herself and she's made some bad choices with her money. She may have been able to save up a significant amount of money, but she lost most of that on a bad decision. I then brought in that it might be better to try living together in an apartment first, because there is a lower risk there. I'd rather see if we can handle living together in an apartment, where if push comes to shove, it's an apartment and not a house under my name where I'm going to have to continue to pay for it. Even if I got my own apartment, which I was looking at prior to the suggestion of a house, she could come to spend a weekend or so there first and such. Me getting an apartment now doesn't mean that we can't have a house later. Then she dropped a major emotional bomb on me. She brought up her health and the fact that she has an accelerated biological clock. She's basically looking to start having kids within the next couple of years or she won't be able to. And she wants a house and someone that can provide for them in order to do this. This was where the stars aligned in my head and I saw the greater picture of why she's behaving the way she is and has done the things she has done. I probably don't have to spell it out for you here, but I will. She wants me to get a house because despite the fact that she's in debt, has no job, has her parents paying many of her bills, and is about to start a master's program, she wants to start a family because if she doesn't do it soon, she won't be able to. She took it a step further and explained to me that for a while she thought that she would stay with her previous boyfriend, a semi-abusive and a generally bad guy, and I don't say this because he's her ex. I've met him. Simply because being in a bad relationship meant that she would be able to have a family since he is a bit older and has himself set up financially. He waited until he was nearly 30 to buy a house after living in an apartment for several years. However, she decided not to and thought about just not having kids until she met me. She put the charm and flattery on here. She sees me as someone who would be a good father and be able to provide for kids, and she thinks that she and I will go the distance and get married, etc. Her logic, from my interpretation, is if we are getting married in the future, why not get a house now and we can start working towards that now? She even mentioned that if I were to purchase a house now, then further down the road when she graduates from grad school and is making more money, who knows how long that could take, she'll be able to pay for mortgage and stuff, and we can afford stuff then, but for 2 years it could be tight. She even brought in the fact that she's almost 25 living at home and she can't handle living there anymore. She has family issues, and if she can't find a way to deal with them or get out, she might just have to leave and go somewhere else, even if that means out of state. I got some other great bits from her as well. Apparently, moving out of state with debt and without a job is a better option than trying to live in an apartment with or without me. Having a kid on her own is better than having a kid with someone she loves or is married to and has an apartment with. None of this makes sense, nor do I have an idea where this came from. Basically, I've come to a point where I've decided that I'm going to get myself an apartment. To clarify, me on the lease contract, no her involved, and no her living there. If she can't handle this and is convinced that it's going to wreck our relationship if we don't get a house at 6 months into the relationship, then I guess that isn't a relationship that I want to be in. Wow, OP, I wouldn't even do what you're suggesting to do. I would just run away. She just told you everything. Everything that tells you that this relationship is completely off base. You didn't mention once that her reason to live with you or to get married was because she loved you. She told you that she thought about staying in an abusive relationship because that guy was financially set up. But she had a moment of clarity and decided not to go through with that. Then she told you that she just couldn't live with her parents anymore, and that maybe the best solution was to just move out of state. What sort of emotional manipulation is that, man? Gross. OP, I think your solution is the right one. However, I wouldn't even invite her to stay over. That relationship to me would be dead. What about you guys? What would you do in OP's shoes with this amount of information? Let me know in the comment section once again, and now let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Toxic Rhythms. I replaced my stepdad's locket keychain photo with a penis picture. This was, 10 years ago? My stepdad always played jokes on me as a kid and a teen. This is one of the many times I decided to get him back, lol. He had this Georgia Bulldog keychain that was a locket with a generic photo inside. I waited a couple of months and then replaced the photo with a penis picture off of Google. Balls and all. Months and months go by. Then one day he comes home from work. His co-worker opened his keychain to reveal the penis. He got made fun of and told me that was not the first time someone looked in that keychain, but the first time someone ever said anything. Lol. Well done, OP, you certainly got back at him. I mean, you didn't humiliate him or anything like that, but it must have been such an awkward moment for his coworker to just see that picture there and then ask his friend like, hey dude, why do you have this picture in your locket? And then that guy going like, I guess my stepson pranked me, haha. Good job, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.